G'day guys, and today Shorty and I are going to review the grand final of 2014, which was between Hawthorn and the Sydney Swans. What a result, no one saw coming, mate. It was an absolute demolition by the Hawks, winning by 63 points. And it's probably the biggest win since maybe us in 2007, potentially. I think Collingwood maybe by 56 in the second grand final of 2010.
Yeah.
Can't think of any thrashings since then. So.
No, I think you're right there.
Well, cheers, mate. That's good to know. And Jared Ruffhead with 5 goals. First time that's happened since 2007 as well. So they're just trying to compare the pair.
Few comparisons.
Oh yeah, we'll get into that a little bit later. But Hawthorn, awesome, mate. What were your thoughts on it?
Yeah, they were fantastic. As much as
we hate to
Hawthorn,
say it. We hate to say it.
Outstanding, and their relentless pressure was just unbelievable. Like, you could just see it sort of as the game began. I mean, there's so many tactics in footy and zones this and all those, but they just simply wanted to pill more, and they went in hard. There was one example with Daniel Hanbury where I think it was with Liam Shields, maybe.
Jordan Lewis, Shields, yeah.
You know the one I'm talking about. They went, the Hawk player went the ball, and Hanbury went the bump, which sometimes, okay, that's alright, but at that point in time, they were already under the pump. Hanbury needed to go hard at the pill, and he just didn't, and it was a bit of a mini moment that gave me an insight to just what was going on, and Hawthorn were just unbelievable as their confidence grew. Equally, you could just see Sydney's dwindle away. I mean, it was tough to watch because I wanted Sydney to win so bad.
Oh, we both did,
and didn't want Hawthorn to go back to back. I mean, it
just doesn't happen anymore.
Yeah, I mean, it's outstanding effort, and what can you say? They were unstoppable, really, once they saw the finish line and they just went for it. There was no thinking about, they didn't get shaky or anything. And Sydney had no answers at all. And you got to pay Hawthorn credit. I mean, it's probably like they've won 12 flags. You could argue it's their best ever. I mean, I think it's the best ever premiership I've ever seen in a total year. Like, it was just with what they faced and things like that.
Adversity.
The huge stint of players that were out in the weeks that they missed during the middle of the year, and Rioli's battle, and obviously Clarkson's battle. Yeah, it was very good.
Amazing
for the
efforts.
Hawks. Yeah, up there with some of our premierships and Brisbane and all that. But as far as an individual year goes, they had everything thrown at them, and they had the answers throughout the year and on the biggest day. So
they put their hand up at the right time.
Yeah, but what were some of the points of the game you saw, mate? Because you did see a bit more of it than me. I quickly lost interest, unfortunately.
Yeah, lots of people I've been talking to recently lost a bit of interest when the margin got out. But it wasn't a complicated game to really analyse because it was so one-sided. Hawthorn's pressure, absolutely amazing, and they're not they don't rely on their pressure; they rely on their foot skills. And what you expected is Sydney to do that to Hawthorn, and they did that 2 years ago in the 2012 flag, where the Swannies upset the Hawks. But Sydney just didn't show up. They were just second the ball, and they couldn't get their hands on the ball. And good luck winning it off Hawthorn once they get it from the clearance, because they just carve you up with your foot skills, and they just kill every team on the spread.
But how don't you show up for a grand final?
You just wonder that, mate.
It's like rocking up to your wedding in thongs and a t-shirt. you know what's coming. I mean, how do you not show up? But
it's a good question, mate. And I actually don't know the answer, even though it's a bit of a rhetorical question. It's so intriguing how you would have thought they would have had a bit more intent. The culture of the Bloods. You just expected players to just show a bit more intent at the contest as opposed to the Hawks, but they were just sensational. But I couldn't believe the result, and it quickly got away from the Swans.
Yeah, very quick.
Pretty much after quarter time, halfway through the second term, and there was just silence throughout the first quarter and second quarter that just said, Hawthorn are here to play, and not here to muck around, and it could be their day with these one-on-ones going their way, just little signs. So Heath Grundy going back, punching the ball straight back into the corridor. You just go back and take the mark, mate. If you break your ribs, I mean, you do. Some things you just got to sacrifice to get the grand final, and Hill snaps on the left and kicks a goal, and just a complete
just sinks it, doesn't it?
Sinks the confidence of the Swans. So that's just one example. And there was so many examples throughout the game where they just didn't do the right thing and didn't win the 50-50 contest.
Yeah, a couple of stats that sort of shone out for me were like the tackle count. Hawthorn owned the ball, yet I think it was 63 to 57, the tackles in the end.
It's just not good enough.
Unbelievable, and the uncontested ball was just amazing. I think Hawthorn had something like 130 more uncontested possessions, which is
Can't
pretty,
afford.
this is the two best sides of the year, and they just carve them up like that. I mean, Sydney couldn't get any easy stuff. I mean, even their marks, they won the contested marks 21-7, Sydney. I mean, they couldn't find an easy ball anywhere.
That's right, yeah.
I mean, that's an amazing contested mark count, but, it was just the footy on the outside was all brown and gold, so...
And if you give them that much time and space, they're just going to...
Oh, yeah.
Well, the same result's just going to happen, maybe even more, but...
They'll carve you up like a turkey.
Yeah, we'll get into the votes anyway. Not that, the Norm Smith sort of decided the votes a little bit, but just a bit of a brief run through who'd you go with.
I actually thought Sammy Mitchell was best on ground. I mean,
with the whole game you saw, mate?
Yeah, granted I didn't see the whole match, mate, and I'm probably not the best person to ask for votes, but I watched fairly well the heat of the match in the first quarter and a half, that's for sure, and I felt Mitchell was best on till then, so I think when the game was in the balance and until it was over, technically, I'll give him the 3. Not that it really matters, because he doesn't get a medal on what I say.
Ouch.
But, and then Hodge too, of course. He was outstanding and puts himself in a pretty good category of only 3 players to have won 2 Norm Smith. So
it's a good effort.
Yeah, pretty outstanding. And Jordan Lewis was, I think, the other popular one. They were probably the clear 3 with a few others and one youngster that you liked. But yeah, Lewis, I think he had 37, leading everyone on the ground. And yeah, probably their next captain and capping an outstanding season for the Hawks and probably his best for his career.
Yeah, you'd think so, especially on the big stage.
Yeah, and who would have you given that, Mr. Norm?
Mr. Norm, well, yeah, Hodgie, such a popular pick. 35 disposals, 12 marks, and also a couple of goals to sort of, sink the slipper into the Swannies. And he's just sensational. He got him into a preliminary final. He got him into the grand final with his effort in the prelim, and you could argue many players obviously contributed, but just does so many desperate efforts and just does the right thing at the right time. The smother on Ebert, that could have gone inside 50 mark to Schultz or Mindfries or something. And, they kick that, and Hawthorn just say, well, what could it be? But he just does what has to be done. Doesn't make mistakes too often. So Hodge, fantastic, deserved winner, and gets himself into a nice category of dual Brownlow medalists. Pretty tough to break into with Gary Ayres and Andrew McLeod, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Sensational.
Yeah,
and 2 votes to Jordan Lewis, 37 possessions on the ground, leading possession winner. So yeah, he was just great. He's been awesome all year for the Hawks. Gets the job done week in, week out.
Yeah.
And I gave the 1 vote to Will Langford. He didn't get a heap of the footy in the heat of the game. And just when things were just going right for Hawthorn, and that absolutely confirmed it. When he capped off a few goals, he kicked 3 in the end and 21 disposals. So you just knew it was Hawthorn's day when he was doing well, I guess.
Yeah, outstanding turn of events for Will. Like, he just came from the clouds. So.
Yeah, and he's just contributed and been probably in their best maybe 15, 16. It's tough to tell, but I know you do like to say that sometimes the bottom 6 is more important than maybe the top 6. But
yeah, I think so. But he probably in the last 4 to 6 weeks, he's almost been in the top 10. Almost.
Like, take that.
He was outstanding against us, and that's kind of where it's come from. So,
built a lot of confidence in that game.
Outstanding. Yeah.
Well, those are some of the votes we've given, and now there's a big debate at the moment. Who's had the better era out of Geelong and Hawthorn? So we're looking at the last 8 years, I'm pretty sure. Well, that's what I looked on in Access All Areas of where they've finished and whatnot. But we'll discuss our thoughts on this, mate. Tell us what you think, and then I'll have a bit of a go at it.
Yeah, we're not biased at all here, are we? But it's so hard to split. It's
Hawthorn are going to say Hawthorn, Geelong are going to say Geelong. I think
they will. Like on paper and the pure stats, like we win there. Like we.
Oh, for sure.
The record speaks for itself. The actual winning percentage over the course of the year and making finals every single year, sort of thing. So, I mean. Gosh, it's hard to split. Of course, as a Geelong fan, I'll say us, but it's hard to argue with going back to back. That is so hard to do.
As it's been shown.
And as I mentioned, with their year and what they faced throughout at Hawthorn, got to give credit to them there. But we did win 3 in 5, which is pretty exceptional effort, where Hawthorn's maybe has been a little more spaced. We're back-to-back now, but then you've got to go back to 2008.
Yeah, it's a long time between drinks.
Yeah, do I want to split them? God, it's pretty tough to really. I haven't had a huge look at the individual years and exactly what it all went down. But one thing I will say is Hawthorn in the last 50 years and a little bit have been unbelievable. First flag was 1961, and they've won, including that one, 12 in the next 53 years.
Yeah, it's just such an awesome effort.
If you want to get your calculator out, that's one every 4.4 years. So if you take one every 4 or 5 years,
you'll take that one.
Gosh, yeah. A dog supporter would take one anytime, just one. But they're getting them very regularly, and yeah, they're unbelievable. Crazy to think that they nearly merged in, I think it was 96. So yeah,
big changes.
Intriguing, but. Can you split them? Can you put anyone higher, anyone lower?
Oh, yeah, you wouldn't want to, but I think the bias kicks in slightly, but not too much. Credit where it's due. Back to back is hard, and it's against the trend. Obviously, hasn't happened for 11 years. Brisbane the last team to do it, and that was back to back to back.
Yeah.
Which is even more significant. Like if you want to talk about the best team in the modern era, I think Brisbane are, because to win 3 in a row is just it's out of this world. But what defines the modern era? I think maybe 2000 to 2014, but who really knows? So
it's also interesting what defines a great team or the best team, because Brisbane certainly weren't the best team throughout the year. They were just
the finals specialists,
probably the best finals team in history.
Yeah,
and it's interesting.
They got the job done when it counted, and sometimes that matters more so to others. But well, Geelong, they haven't missed a final series. Hawthorn in 2009 missed out with depleted group there. I think they had a plethora of injuries there, so that sort of they were a bit out of the depth there. But I think 2010 they got knocked out in the first week against Fremantle. But ever since then, they've no doubt been the best team in the last 3 or 4 years. That's certainly evident. They've made 3 grand finals and won 2 in a row. So yeah, but looking at the stats, we've broken so many records, Essendon have set, and they've been talked about as one of the best teams ever. If you're looking at premierships purely, they are, but it's pretty tough to break the absolute best records. But who really knows? If you stand up in September, does it make it better? Maybe, but I think 3 in 5 years is better than 3 in 7 years.
Yeah, I agree. And if you want to look at it really simply, they both won 3 flags. They're even. I mean, that's a really simple view. But if you want to look at it really precisely and who had the best stint of success, then we take the points.
So we'll take it. And we're still there in abouts. But
we are.
Probably just sliding down slightly. But anyway, this isn't a Geelong review. It's the grand
review.
final
Thank you to the Hawks who won the flag. So
good on them. But we didn't want them to win, and maybe for pride reasons and financial reasons on my part. But it's 3 grand finals in a row. I've just put money on the wrong side of the ledger. But you move on from these things, and stuff happens sometimes.
Yeah.
But,
the grand final hasn't treated you well.
Oh, it's terrible, mate. But those are some of our thoughts from Shorty and myself on the grand final of 2014 and another season done and dusted. Can't believe it. Comment what do you think, some of your thoughts on the game. Like the video if you enjoyed it, and don't forget to subscribe to us as well. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. Look at our mission, the video there. We've got we want 1,000 subscribers. That'd just be great. So just subscribe anyway, because
check it out.
Support is awesome. And Twitter accounts are in the description below as well. And thanks for sticking around, and we'll see you guys all soon.